session to order. Mr. King?
Mayor, as we have done periodically in the past, we're going to have a short presentation for you by Drew Keith of Castle Hills to update you on some of the coming action items that you'll be seeing on future agendas related to financing and development within the district. And with that, you know Drew, and he's going to proceed.
Thank you, Mr. King. And at the pleasure of the council and staff, thank you. Just wanted to, as Claude indicated, simply go through what the plans are that the developer has for Castle Hills and how those things would be impacting the city of Louisville pursuant to hopefully being able to be in position to issue some public improvement district bonds in 2014. So with that, okay, everybody knows where Louisville is, and obviously we know where Castle Hills is. It's such a funny shape, I like to put it up there over to the east, but one of the real reasons I put it up there is really for the next slide, and if we'll pull that up. This really wasn't part of the agenda, but I felt like I had an obligation to update you. If you'll recall, back in July, Eric Stanley, one of my colleagues, and I came here and we made a presentation regarding what we called Castle Hills East, which was the Graham property that runs along Josie, and the Clem family. The Clem family, specifically the property that's here, and then as you all probably know, that's the rock crushing plant that was there. The plant's no longer there. In any event, this project is on hold now. It's effectively being restructured. That was due to the fact that Graham backed out of the project. There were the two landowners, the Graham mortgage people and the Clem family. The Graham people got somewhat, I guess, impatient with the pace of activity. There were some things that were not in our control with the Clem family, and a lot of the remediation they are doing and the work they had to do to remove the rock crushing plant and overburden that was there. That caused us to be delayed, and Graham got rather impatient with it. We were really doing everything we could to keep the Graham people involved, but the real problem became with Atmos Energy. They had some blanket easements, and they interpreted them one way, we all interpreted them another. The long and the short of that is that it really created a risk profile that could have gotten very, very expensive for us as a developer if Atmos chose not to cooperate and or do something that we felt was reasonable. And it just created a scenario where we couldn't manage the risk relative to the reward, and the dollars were getting very large. So Graham was not willing to be patient, and we couldn't take that timing risk for the end of the year having everything resolved. Therefore, we had to let that really come apart as a project on a combined basis with Graham and Clem. However, we have a very good relationship with the Clem family, and so we're continuing to work with the Clem family to develop what would be kind of the southern half and the western portion of this kind of an L-shaped area here with the Clem family. So to a great extent, I think the things that were probably most important, or certainly important to the city of Louisville, i.e. that rock crushing plant getting removed and hopefully that being turned into a development that would make the city proud, I think that's still clearly on the table, and that's what we're working towards. So I just wanted to update the council relative to those activities. I also did want to say that certain staff members were very helpful in explaining the situation to the Graham people, but to no avail. But it was certainly not without a lot of effort from the staff here, a number of people on staff helping to explain to the Graham people just exactly what we were dealing with. But to no avail there, but in any event, we're restructuring the project, so hopefully that'll turn into a positive for us in the city as well. So with that, we can kind of move over. What I'm really here to talk about is the things that now we have on the agenda for 2014. Louisville Castle Hills PID number 4. That's an existing PID, and it overlays all of these pink districts, or the districts that are represented in, or the district that's represented in pink, which is our District 1F. Right now, that district has a certified value of 318 million. We estimate that it'll be about 336 million for 2014. That's largely because of the finish of the build out of this area right over here at Castle Hills West. Then also Castle Hills North has continued to sell very rapidly, and we're through there. American Legend Homes has sold all its lots, and David Weekley only has 2 or 3 lots here and a few lots in here, and those have already been purchased from the developers. So that's going to complete by the end of this year or early 14. So that's driving the increase in value of about 18 million, as well as completed development in the commercial areas right up here in the Louisville Town Center. That has continued to develop. A number of restaurants have opened there. They've put a spec retail space there. So that's continuing to do very well. There are $27 million worth of bonds outstanding, and we have the authority to issue about $3.7 million more. And we expect to do that in 2014 based on some of the development that's going on. The development that's going to drive the issuances then to complete all the issuances for PID 4, or on the next slide we'll talk about those things. Up in the northeast corner, this is the 121 access road just before you get up to Plano Parkway, and as all of you know, that if you were on this map, as you come up here to the north and east of Plano Parkway is Nebraska Furniture Mart. So what we are in plating and zoning for right now are these commercial pad sites along the access roads. And that is within, those, we call them the F3 pad sites. Those are within District 1F and PID 4. So we've got some utility work there, and that will drive the increase in value, and that's where the utility work for those pad sites will come into play to be reimbursed. Also, if you'll notice over here on the right-hand side, what we call Castle Hills Phase 8, there are about 380 residential lots in this Phase 8, and a majority of them, probably about 60% of them, are in PID 4 1F in the northern portion of this residential section. So what's going on here is this is just the residential that dovetails right in here with the commercial. And so this portion where Marisa has this green line right along here, that's residential that's going to be within PID 4. So that's going to drive some increased value in that district, and it will also require road work and utility work, the utility work of which, again, will be supported by the PID bonds that we have remaining in PID 4 District 1F. So that's our story there. As we move to District 1G, kind of grays everything out, 1G PID 5 is in yellow here. It is a new PID that was formed by the council back in May of last year. It's got $58.9 million of value currently. We estimate that'll be at about $83.5 million by the end of this year. And it has no bonds outstanding. We expect to issue potentially $13 million next year. Let me tell you about what's driving that. If you'll recall, Platinum Castle Hills is already completed. It was completed in the first couple of months of this year. They had tenants late last year, but it's completed. That's about 324, I believe, apartment units. And Platinum Castle Hills has already elected and broken ground on their second phase, which is over to kind of the western portion of this area right here I've got in red. And they will likely get that almost complete this year. So that will drive some increased value. I think all of you may know that the Weitzman Group acquired this property here from Hopkins, kind of to the west of the Louisville Town Crossing, or Louisville Town Center, and they are calling that Castle Hills Marketplace, which is going to be anchored by a Kroger Center. That's not us as a developer, but that's going to drive increased ad valorem tax value. Then over here to the west, this kind of triangular piece right here was acquired by Trinsic, which is an apartment developer. They've got a 316 unit apartment complex that is nearing completion. And I think, Maurice, are they telling you that they will have tenants by the end of the year? So they will have tenants moving in some portions of that project there, and it'll finish in the first quarter easily of next year. So that's driving some additional value in PID 5. And then last but not least, that's already occurred is we were able to sell this piece of property right up here where 544 curls into 121 Business there. We sold that to Racetrack, a little under 2 acres, and Racetrack I expect will be breaking ground on that very soon as well. So there'll be a very nice, I guess what's their kind of their state-of-the-art Racetrack fuel facility will be there for convenience store and fuel. So that's where we are today, and that's what's kind of supporting the 2013 value and 2014 value. But then if we'll roll this over, kind of talk about what we're going to be doing as a developer that we would be in position to potentially get PID reimbursement. I'll start back with this Phase 8. The lower portion or the southern portion down here of Phase 8 is actually in PID 5 District 1G. So we will be obviously constructing that entire Phase 8 at the same time, but this would be providing some need for road work and utility reimbursement, which would drive the issuance of bonds there. And then over on the western side, the far western side of Castle Hills, and this is what we call Track K, and Marissa, go back to this. This is Track K right here, over on the western side, and we have done some things ancillary to get ready to develop that tract of land. But this then, if you'll superimpose that, this being State Highway 121 bypass right along here, and Track K. And Track K, what we will do there is we will start the office development, and we will construct the necessary infrastructure for some pad sites. We don't have any offices that we would be putting up ourselves right now, but we would be constructing the pad sites and offering the pad sites for sale, and hopefully drive some additional commercial, high-end commercial, probably mid-rise type office. It could be high-rise for that matter, but we would be looking for at least 4 to 5 story type mid-rise office buildings over here on Track K. So that's pretty much what's driving PID 5 District 1G. This is PID 7. Again, this was a newly formed PID. It overlays the golf course. The golf course being in kind of an, I don't want to say burnt orange. I don't know, maybe that's an Auburn color. Auburn is a good color for the week if you're an Auburn fan. So anyway, long story short, this has always been the golf course property. It's always been District 1C. PID 7 is now there. PID 7 has no bonds outstanding. We have about a little under $7 million of certified value. We believe that that's going to be about $10 million at the beginning of 2014 certified because of the work that's been done simply to the golf club that sits on the property. As you may recall, I don't know how many of you have been out there necessarily, but the golf club has added tennis courts, improved that academy area, and turned it into a tennis pro shop. But more importantly than that, that's where up there near the golf course we added the resorts type pool. And it's a very nice pool with dressing room and support kitchen and also like a cabana area, etc. So that was a large investment in the ground there, and we think that's going to probably push us to about $10 million. Not to mention the fact that the streets and the road work have been put in for the Villas project, and I think we've mentioned that before. But as you can see here, this being the clubhouse, this being the new pool, and these being the villas. Now, technically not all of these villas are in District 1C PID 7, but there are 64, 44 of which are in District 1C, there was kind of a strange little trapezoidal cutout for 1D there along the power lines. But 44 of those units will be in District 1C PID 7. That's probably a build out of about 16 or 17 million of just those units. I do want to stress something. This has been incredibly well received. They released the first 10 units back in early November, and the first 10 units sold out in 7 days, and they put the brakes on it. They released 4 more units, and those 4 more units sold within a week. We're having to take a pause simply because we don't want to get backlogged too much. Getting these under contract with prices of materials rising can put a real damper on a margin squeeze quickly. So we don't want to upset our customers, and we don't want to get squeezed on the margin, but the demand is huge. So we expect this project, all 64 of these, to be under contract by the fall of next year, and we expect to be built out by early 2015 of all of these. And American Legend is the exclusive home builder in there. Marisa took these 2 pictures about 10 days ago, and these are the first 2 models that are just located right here as you enter the area. I walked those today, and I think this model on the right here that's kind of got the yellow sheeting, I think it will be clearly open before Christmas, and I think they'll both be open by the first week of January. So if you're interested, you can go out there and see the units the first week of January and walk the actual units. I mean, they're going to be ready. So that's really what's driving PID 7 for the most part for early next year. PID 6, now this is the one where the grandest of all of our plans will occur, and this is the one you're going to hear about probably for the next 10 to 15 years, because this is where right now what we have is about $50 million of certified value. We don't expect that to change because nothing's really occurred dramatically in PID 6, which is District 1H for us. There are no bonds outstanding. We expect, if things go well, to be able to look at late next year or mid to late next year, maybe $7 million of bonds being issued in support of the development activities there. And the development activities we expect to occur are going to be the multifamily phase 1. I know we play kind of name roulette or whatever you want to call it, but we've kind of enhanced the name up here. We've been calling this the Bridges. You may remember the Bridges, the multifamily combined with the retail and the office all along 121, the very high profile. It's the ones with all the pretty pictures along 121 and all that. We've always called that the Bridges, but we've kind of realized that that whole area needs to be referred to as to something. So with all the high-priced marketing people, it is now called the Realm, and it's going to be the Realm. So you'll have the Bridges at the Realm, and then you'll also have the Village at the Realm. And the Village will be the series of multifamily projects. So the first phase of the multifamily is what we expect to break ground on in June or July of next year. And that's going to be over 400 units, probably somewhere near 430 units. It will be an urban type product. I don't think it will be quite as, I want to call it urban or edgy as these 2 pictures, but the layout around the water feature will be very similar, if not exactly this. There will be a combination of kind of a traditional multifamily building, and there will be some kind of what almost will feel like some townhome units. There'll be rental units, but they'll feel like a townhome unit. They kind of call them a walk-up unit. They'll have their own garage, and they'll be pretty much they'll be larger units, and they'll be very much the high end of the marketplace up in that area for any kind of a rental unit. So that is what we expect to see. That will be a very large project. It will probably be that project alone will probably be at least $70 million. So it will be a very nice, high-end multifamily unit that's intended to attract the type of clientele and demographic that will fit nicely with the bridges and all of that high-end retail and everything that we expect to go along 121. And we think that actually is going to dovetail very nicely with all the plans that are going on with Nebraska Furniture Mart, et cetera. So that's what's going on there. This, I put in more as a takeaway. This is just a recap of what I've been talking about, but by PID. And it just gives you an anticipation of what we're expecting to do, and gives you a little bit of an idea of the timing. So, as Brenda and Donna have been telling me, you better get on your high horse, Drew, if you're expecting to do this and get us documents. So that's my next order of business. And with that, I will stop talking and be glad to answer your questions. And thank you very much.
Anybody got any questions?
Actually, I have more of a question for Mr. King, since we've talked about this in the past, but now that we're videoing these as workshops and they're going out on YouTube, would you mind maybe just giving a quick primer on why we're involved as a city as far as issuing bonds for Castle Hills, or how that all functions?
Well, that all dates back to the original agreement that we had with Castle Hills back in 1996 or 95, I think, 96. And in exchange for being able to bring the Castle Hills area into our extraterritorial jurisdiction and make it eligible for future annexation, we agreed to certain types of conditions, among those being the ability for the developer to finance the development, and by that I mean the public parts of the development through bonds issued by the city of Louisville. Those bonds, of course, are payable only out of the revenues generated by a tax rate in Castle Hills, not by any kind of revenues from the city of Louisville proper. So the citizens of Louisville are not burdened by those debts over there, but the people who will be living there, working there, purchasing homes there, renting, whatever, will have the burden for paying off those bonds over time, and have had that burden since, I think, the first issuance was in 97 or so. As the district grows, we develop the infrastructure associated with it and finance that through the issuance of those bonds, and that all dates back to that 96 agreement.
Thank you.
The commercial and multifamily has the same tax rate as the single family.
Yes, sir, it does.
Okay.
Although over time, those tax rates start getting a little bit different from each other.
For each district.
For each district.
But if they're in the district, they're the same, no matter whether you're commercial, residential, or, single family, multifamily. If you're in that district, the tax rate's the same.
Yes,
Each
sir.
district could vary depending on the debt pay down and stuff.
Yes, sir. They can vary based on that, and the districts have their individual boards, and they can set their rate. They're somewhat limited, but,
Right.
yeah, the districts can vary by PID and district, but all the property within those PIDs or districts, each unique district, they have the same rate regardless of the type of land use.
Right. All right, any other questions? Comments? Thank you very much. Good presentation, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Would like to, maybe after the holidays, schedule a visit and come out there and kind of tour some of the stuff that you're doing, everything out there, because I haven't been out there since you've done quite a bit here like this.
We would, it'd be at our pleasure. Thank you very much. I'll follow up on that.
All right. Okay. Let's go to the regular agenda. As you can see, Councilman Kearney and Councilman Ferguson will not be here tonight. Okay. Item 1. Item 2. Item 3. 4. Item 5. Item 6. Did we get paid last year?
Yes, we did.
All right.
Only that one
Oh,
year.
yeah.
Only that 1 year.
Y'all remember that, didn't
We didn't bill correctly or something?
Rounding error.
Item 7. Item 8. And from my understanding, this does not, all this does, it does not, we are not adopting a different collection policy at this time. This is simply extending the current contract so that we'll have a renewal date or an existing date until May 18th, the
Correct.
existing current
We'll be
contract.
bringing back to you the
Other contract.
issues related to the contract themselves at some point in case you want to make some adjustments or changes
Okay,
prior to that May date.
okay. Any other question on 8? Item 9.
Mr. King, what's being offered to these residents on this item 9 that they find unacceptable?
I'm gonna ask Liz maybe, I don't know if you're aware of,
I don't remember the amounts off the top of my head. Councilman Vaughn, I am hopeful, we're just doing this so that we don't hold up the process. We're still negotiating with them, and we're hopeful that we'll be able to reach an agreement so we don't have to condemn. But, we only have, I believe, 3 parcels left, and we don't wanna hold up the project.
I can tell you that we offer full appraised value. So we
Yes.
do an appraisal, an independent appraisal,
Mhm.
and then we offer at least full appraised value as an initial bona fide offer. And then negotiate from that point forward. They may have some issues they want to bring to our attention, which might affect the appraisal, and we may have the same.
Okay.
Oftentimes, other non-monetary terms enter into the negotiations, and I know for one tract at least, that has occurred. The issue related to the fact that the tract is in a floodplain, and the owner wanted to change that status, but the short story there is you just can't ignore the fact that it's in a floodplain or just change it arbitrarily. And so that's a condition that we simply can't accept. So there are gives and takes there associated with any of the negotiations that take place, and we're just hopeful that we can get a deal, but in case we can't,
So it's not all monetary at this point?
yeah, I'd say monetary, probably 90% of the issues with most property owners, but there's always a little bit of other things.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and on item 10.
Mayor, I'll be abstaining on this because I'm employed by the appraising district.
Okay, with Councilman Durham abstaining and being absent, 2 other council members will not have a quorum at that time, so there'll be no action taken on this item. But you will need to abstain and leave, and then we'll just say if there's no action to be taken on that item, then you come back in and we'll do reports. Go ahead, I'm sorry, sir.
So our votes were supposed to be in by, I think, December the 15th, so does that mean that we will be convening a meeting between now and then, or we are just going to not vote our votes?
Well, first I got, and I understand, because that was what I was gonna bring up. First, I got a question. Could this not have been put on the last council meeting?
Probably could have.
In the packet, we've had this happen a few times. If we could direct staff to be sure and put items like this on at least 2 meetings prior to the deadline date, so that if we have something like this happen, we'll have an opportunity to get
The
it
reason
done.
we historically waited on this item, and we have historically waited till the meeting prior to the requirement, is to get some kind of feel for the other taxing jurisdictions' votes. But if you don't need that, then certainly we can put it on earlier.
I
Of course,
think
we
we
also
need to-
don't anticipate 2 vacancies, or 2 missing
Right.
councilmen. That very rarely happens,
I'm,
if it.
And I'm gonna say, I don't want the embarrassment of us not turning in any votes on this. So I think we're gonna need to call another session, a council meeting. And how do we do that? We haven't done that.
Well, you can't direct that today because you don't have a quorum, so no action can be taken.
So we can't vote, and we can't call a meeting.
Staff can
Staff just schedule that.
Staff can just schedule one, but
Okay.
you all can't decide on that because you can't take any action.
What I can do is throw a name out there and see if that is satisfactory,
Okay,
if the people can attend in that sense, and time,
okay.
and then schedule it accordingly.
Okay. So then, how many votes? We got a significant number of votes.
124, I
Well,
believe.
yeah, it's
I'm sorry.
Significant number.
significant in some ways, but insignificant when compared to the total of the total votes available. We're a relatively small player, but certainly I understand your issue with the,
Aren't we the
Cast
second largest city
regardless.
that's casting votes?
yeah, but it's the school districts. that-
School district.
Right, they have the largest
Yeah.
amount, but, right, they have the largest amount, but the city, we're the second largest city casting votes.
Okay, well, I'll get something to you. next
Uh,
while. Thank you.
If you would, call me tomorrow if you would and see if we can get some kind of dates, and then we'll go from there. See, council, we can do that, have him send them to council. Where'd Rudy go? He left.
He
He's
can't.
abstaining.
He's abstaining.
But I'm not talking to these people, I'm just talking to you. All right, that's good. All right,
Thank you.
all right, he can come back in. Where'd he go? Okay, anything else, council? Judy? Liz? Mr. King?
Mayor Assau,
Yes, sir.
if I may, I'd like to introduce our new Animal Services Supervisor, Ethel Straughn, is here tonight. We're extremely happy to have Ethel. She comes to us with numerous years of professionalism and experience from Farmers Branch. So we're very happy to have her on board, and you'll be seeing Ethel, if you hadn't already.
Great. Good to have you
Hopefully in a
aboard.
good way.
Well,
It's good to have you with us.
It's good to be here.
Look forward to working with you. Anything else? Anyone else? And we will be adjourned. is 7 o'clock. We do have a quorum. We'll call city council meeting to order. First item on the agenda this evening is the invocation given by Mayor Pro Tem Bond, and then the pledge to both the American and Texas flag led by Deputy Mayor Pro Tem Gilmore.
Please stand and join me in a moment of silent prayer. Thank you.
Please join me in the pledges to our flags. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Under the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
We have a very special proclamation that we'd like to present tonight, and I'd like to ask Mr. Gilbert Brown if you would come forward, please, sir. Come forward. I'm going to let you bring them up one at a time, introduce them, if that'd be good. How's that, Mr. Brown? We got it right here.
You're right, we put this.
I need to find it, that script written out, trust me, I need them. Mr. Brown, can you get the paper? Like I said, we have a very special proclamation that we want to give out tonight, and, you know, sometimes I'm going to let him bring up his people first and tell a little bit about his organization and exactly what we're doing and why we're doing this. So, Mr. Brown, without any further ado, I'd like you to bring the rest of your comrades up with you.
Thank you. I'm going to introduce these people in no special order, but Forrest Beadle, who's Assistant District Attorney with Denton County. Travis Greenwood, if you come up. And Francis Thomas. And Tammy Russell. And just to clarify, this is not my organization. This is our organization, the county's organization. And I really defer to Forrest, who is the Assistant District Attorney and was really instrumental in helping get this started, and let him explain a little bit about what Veterans Treatment Court is all about.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much. Ladies and gentlemen, as Gil mentioned, my name is Forrest Beadle, and for the last 8 years, I've had the privilege of serving as one of your assistant district attorneys with the Denton County District Attorney's Office. In those 8 years, I've held a lot of jobs, but one thing that happened about 3 years ago is I witnessed a good friend of mine, a military veteran. He did a tour in Iraq and Afghanistan, go through a PTSD episode, and it disturbed me immensely. And when I came back to Denton County and back to the District Attorney's Office, I was aware that Tarrant County and Dallas County had active veterans court programs. These programs are designed to treat veterans that are coming back from overseas, that are dealing with PTSD and other combat-related mental illnesses. And because of those illnesses, they're getting in trouble with the law. And they're coming in the criminal justice system, and it's very difficult to kind of do a dual treatment. Many of them have chemical dependencies. And the other court programs here in the state has identified the need to provide these specialized treatment programs prior to them ending up in a courtroom in front of a jury, in front of a judge, and getting convicted. And that's what these programs do. We have folks that we work with VA and also locally, like Gil Brown, one of our mentors, and also our probation department. And these are our two probation officers right here, Tammy Russell and Francis Thomas. They work with these veterans to help them get back on the right path by primarily getting them training, but also the treatment that they need through the VA and other local resources. And of course, the benefit to the veteran is they get the treatment that they need, but if they successfully complete the program, the district attorney's office will dismiss their cases. And so they walk out of the program hopefully moving on in life with the treatment they need, with the camaraderie they need from other veterans that are suffering through the same thing, but also with a clean criminal record. And for the last 3 years, it's been my privilege to work forward in this program to get it up and going. And since last November, We've been doing that like gangbusters. I think currently we have 8 veterans in the program, and we have several more going through the screening process. Main thing you need to remember, it's not a get-out-of-jail-free card for the veterans. This is a very difficult program, and it's one they have to volunteer for. No judge up there at the courthouse can order them to do it. They have to want the treatment. But if they want the treatment, we built a team over the last year to help give it to them. And it's been one of the most rewarding experiences of my life, working with the veterans, but also working with the people here at the program. And Mayor, I really appreciate your time tonight. Thank you.
Well, thank all of you, and I really do want to say thank you sincerely from the bottom of my heart. I've been involved a little bit with some programs with our veterans over the years, and the city of Louisville has been involved. We worked with a young lady named Debbie Wright, who's very active with veteran programs here in Louisville, or not just Louisville, but also in Denton County. And we've worked with the Wounded Warrior Program and with a group called Pathways for veterans. And what people don't understand sometimes is we love to see our veterans come home, but the real sad part of it is that so many times when they come home, they don't feel like they're at home. They don't feel like they're part of society anymore. They don't feel like they fit in. They don't know what to do, where to go. And that's the reason a lot of times they just sign back up. They just re-up because they come home and it's not like what it was when they left. Their friends are gone. They've gone different directions, done different things. Their family may have changed, things like that. And so there's a lot of problems. This is one of them that our veterans seem to get into. But one of the things that really disturbed me a lot, and this Pathways works with, is helps suicide prevention. They try to intervene because the suicide rate for veterans that return is 25 to 1. There are those that are killed in action in our wars now. 25 to 1 more kill themselves when they come home because they feel like they've lost their family and lost contact. They can't provide. We as a community, we as a country owe it to these veterans to get in touch with them. The hardest thing is, though, because of all the rights to privacy, and I certainly understand that, the government can't tell you when veterans are coming back and where they're doing it. They used to do it out here at DFW Airport, USO, and they've kind of stopped that because of the privacy issues. But yet, if you know someone who needs help that's a returning veteran, please contact us here at the city. We will make sure that we get you in touch or get them in touch with the organization that can help them get through whatever they might be going through. And this is just another perfect example of helping the veterans as they come home.
Mayor, I know you're busy tonight, but I would love to read a passage from one of our veterans. Judge Garcia, who's our Veterans Court judge, is actually in D.C. with the rest of the team undergoing some training. But if you don't mind, it's a short passage. The Veterans Court team has done an amazing job providing us with the help and information we need to help ourselves. From my own experience, if I had not been arrested and been selected for Veterans Court program, I would not have made contact with mental health at the Veterans Hospital to start counseling and get back on medication again. I would not have come in contact with Mr. Paul Bastich. Paul Bastich is the County Veterans Service Officer. In my opinion, he's the best in the state, but he helps them with their benefits. Mr. Bastich, who is currently helping me process my disability claim. I also believe if it were not for the program, I would not have had such a positive relationship with his fiancée. With the counseling sessions I've attended and with future appointments scheduled, I've been able to open up to my fiancée about my time overseas. I've let her in on a part of my life I have not shared with anyone. With telling her about what I did and saw overseas has let her come in to know much more about me and developed our relationship. How I feel about some things and being able to provide the reasons why. I would not have come in contact with any other veterans in the program to exchange stories, information, and experiences. And that's a key part of Veterans Court is a camaraderie. The Veterans Court team has provided us with every piece of information and material for us to succeed. However, it is up to us in the program to use the resources and information provided to help ourselves. All of us have a mentor, crisis hotline numbers to call in time of need, and have been provided with support groups and counseling sessions. At the end of the day, it is up to us with the program's help to do our part.
And that's awesome. And I think all of you will say, and what we're interested in doing is making sure that these veterans, when they come home, they can get back into a lifestyle here at home. They can get back into the normal life that they left before they ever went over. So with that, I think this information we just gave is much more important. It's probably very important. But to me, I want people to know what you're doing and why you're doing it, and how we as a community need to pitch in and help. Whereas November 11, 2013 marks the 12th straight year of America at war, and there are now more than 23 million U.S. veterans, including 2.4 million from wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. And whereas the men and women of our military shoulder the burden of safeguarding our freedom, and whereas the United States military instills a sense of honor, duty, leadership, commitment, and respect evident in the millions of veterans who have returned home to their communities as productive citizens, strengthened by their military experience. And whereas 1 in 5 veterans have symptoms of mental disorders or cognitive impairment, 1 in 6 veterans from Operation Enduring Freedom and Operation Iraqi Freedom suffers from a substance abuse issue. And research continues to draw a link between substance abuse and combat-related mental illness. And increasing numbers of veterans nationwide are appearing in the courts to face charges stemming directly from these issues. And whereas Veterans Treatment Court was our community's response to the growing need for an alternative to incarceration specifically for justice-involved veterans. And whereas many veterans have access to exclusive economic benefits and health services through United States Department of Veterans Affairs, State Departments of Veterans Affairs, County Departments of Veterans Affairs, and a variety of additional programs for veterans operated through veteran service organizations at federal, state, and local levels. And whereas grouping justice-involved veterans into a specific court docket significantly expedites access to veteran-specific resources, including benefits and treatment earned through military service, and veterans deeply value their military experience and share in invaluable bond among their peers. And whereas Veterans Treatment Courts build upon the camaraderie by allowing participants to go through the treatment court process with people who are similarly situated and have common past experiences, and have captured national attention as a critical tool for ensuring veterans in the criminal justice system do not fall through the cracks. Now therefore, I, Dean Euchert, Mayor of the City of Louisville, along with the members of the City Council and the citizens of Louisville, do here declare that the Denton County Veterans Treatment Court be recognized as a critical solution for saving the lives, families, and futures of our native nation's veterans, proclaimed the 2nd day of December 2013. Let's give these people a big round of applause.
Just briefly, I've been a mentor here just for a few months, and I can't tell you how much these guys in this program now are improving. I'm extremely proud of my 2 guys that I'm with. They really care. They really want to get better, or they wouldn't be here. As Forrest said, this is not a pass. This is not easy, but they have to go through. So they have to step up to the plate. And I belong to the Denton County Veterans Coalition. If there's anything we can ever do to help out anybody here, absolutely get a hold of us, because not only treatment court, but the coalition has resources to help veterans. If you know somebody, please, Chief Kerber knows how to get hold of me every Tuesday, don't you, Chief?
For good reasons.
I'll be at the PD, yes. For good reasons. Thank you very much.
And that's why I want to extend that invitation to all of our citizens out there. If you know of a veteran that's in need or has any kind of problem with something, if you don't know who to call, please just contact the city. We will get you in touch with one of the organizations that's being formed to help our veterans, because there is a big need for it. God bless you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is a visitor citizen forum. At this, at this time, any person with business before the council not scheduled on the agenda may speak to the council. No formal action can be taken on these items at this meeting. We do have some cards filled out. First is John Garena. Just please state your, I'm sorry, thank you for turning that around for me.
It's okay.
Name and address, please, John.
John Garena, 417 Creekwood Lane, Louisville, Texas. And tonight I want to talk to the citizens about the Texas State Guard Heroes of the Toy Drive. When I was on the council, was always gave the announcement this time of year. So I just have a statement I want to read. Christmas should not be a time of fear, anxiety, distress, and pain. Unfortunately, for hundreds of children in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, the only home they will know this Christmas is a hospital room, and for some of them, the only family they will see are the medical staff who care for them. For parents, this is a time of fear, struggle, and even dread. Some have no money left for presents or a tree, and the medical bills have already taken all their savings and aren't letting up anytime soon. Some don't even know if this will be the last Christmas they'll be able to spend with their son or daughter. All of these parents are desperately looking for a glimmer of hope, comfort for their children. These are children, perhaps a few days old or even teenagers, perhaps looking forward to the day they can go home. Some are clinging to life, families not knowing if they'll ever will be coming home, and some may not even make it home this very Christmas. We may not be able to help ill children or their parents heal, and we may not be able to assure them that there will be brighter days ahead when a child's voice won't cause them to cry, but one moment at least, we can perhaps bring a smile and reprieve from all that overwhelms them. Christmas should be a joyful and laughter-filled time for a child, and that has been the inspiration behind the Texas State Guard's Young Heroes of the Guard Toy Drive. Since 2009, the Texas State Guard's Christmas Toy Drive seeks to bring a smile and maybe a laugh or two to the faces of these precious children. Our goal is to bring toys, books, and other kinds of gifts to every child can find over the Christmas season in one of the area's children's hospitals. Because they are in hospitals, the toys need to be unwrapped and new, and there are 3 locations in Louisville. One of them is our very own Louisville Library, and they're off of Main Street, near the police station. Everybody knows where that is. The other one is First Choice Power, which is right across from the Louisville High School. And the third location I have here in Louisville is the Garden Ridge Church of Christ at Garden Ridge in Maine. Now, anything that you can give, there are ideas for children 0 to 3. People want to donate, toddlers, infants, things for teenagers. I know that the teenage girls that are in hospital love the little makeup kits, and the boys like the little remote control things, but whatever. Nothing's too small, nothing's too big. It could be dollar store tablets. We've had things as large as bicycles given away. So anyway, thank you, and I hope Merry Christmas to everybody. And the last day for donations will be the 13th in the morning, because that afternoon we're picking them up because we're delivering them on Saturdays to the area hospitals. Thank you.
Thank you, John, for bringing that to us, and thank you for your work with that. Caroline Baran, I hope I'm saying that right. Is it Baran?
Barron.
I'm sorry? Barron, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Feel-
Everybody
yeah,
pronounces
pull
it
it down
wrong.
for you.
I'm here. I own the bridal boutique in Old Downtown.
Could you give your address, please? I'm sorry.
My home address is 308 Highland Lake Drive in Louisville.
Okay.
But I do own the bridal boutique on Main Street. And I'm here because of our lack of parking issues. And I kind of feel like that our ideas and concerns, those businesses plus myself, aren't really being taken to heart, or they're kind of brushed aside. I continue to hear about we're getting more parking spaces down here. However, these parking spaces are not on Main Street. And there are several businesses that I know, myself included, I have 0 parking spaces in front of my business. I have one bench that seats 3 people and a nice tree and a nice light, but no parking. And I feel like there's a lot more that can be done. I understand that the new streetscape is going to be redone again, and I would like to make sure that the businesses in Old Town are asked about what they think needs to be done about parking. I also feel like, and I've told this to my friend Steve Backus numerous times that I think Poydras, which is directly across the street from my store, needs to be changed back into a one-way street. And the parking lot, the temporary parking lot that is where the mill, the old lumber yard used to be, needs to be there needs to be a better parking lot there, and there needs to be signage, and there needs to be, that needs to be made back into a street, and with a right turn only, because people coming in to see from other towns, which my business is a very destination business. I get brides from everywhere, all over the Metroplex, from everywhere, Oklahoma, Louisiana, everywhere. And you can watch them come down the street and they're slowing down, they can't find us, they don't know where to park, they get to the corner, they turn left, there's construction, they turn right, and they see an alley and it's just really we're having a hard time with parking in Old Town. And I think it's something that needs to be taken more seriously, and there needs to be a couple of forums or whatever before anything is decided about what is going to happen in Old Town.
Okay,
That's all.
thank
Okay.
you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Steve Southwell?
Hello, I'm Steve Southwell at 995 Downey Drive. As you know, a city our size just doesn't function very well without a lot of volunteers, a lot of nonprofit organizations, and a lot of people that go above and beyond the call of duty to make their community a great place to live. So last year, we were honored at the Louisville Texan Journal to name a Citizen of the Year for Louisville. So for 2012, that was Kim Teemer and her organization, Heavenly Supply Depot. As you may know, they supplied thousands of kids around our city, underprivileged children, with school supplies. And it was really great work that they did. Just amazed how some people can give. So I know that there are a lot of people in our community who work very hard. Maybe they volunteer for the city. Maybe they volunteer at the hospital and a nursing home. Maybe they go and sit with school kids and tutor them without pay, above and beyond the call of duty, even maybe some government employees who just spend a lot of extra time. So our nominations are open once again. We'd like to do this again and honor another Citizen of the Year, maybe do something nice for them and kick a few bucks their way to the charity of their choice. So I'd like to ask everyone to just think real hard about who in the city of Louisville is doing that kind of good work, who's being a hero, who's going above and beyond. Go to LouisvilleTexan.com and nominate somebody. We would love to honor them, and we would love to hear about all the good stories. You know, even though we are going to pick one person, we'd love to mention several people. So thanks a lot.
Great, I think that's a wonderful idea. Thank you, Steve. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. All the following items on the consent agenda are considered to be self-explanatory by the council and will be enacted with one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a council member or citizen so requests. For a citizen to request removal of an item, a speaker card must be filled out and submitted to the city secretary. Did not have any cards filled out, and no one asked to have anything pulled. Councilman Durham.
Mayor, move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
A motion by Councilman Durham to approve consent agenda, second by Councilman Gilmore. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 8 is consideration of an ordinance of the City Council of Louisville, Texas, extending the term of an ordinance granting a collection of residential garbage, refuse, yard waste, bulky waste, recyclables, and containerized chemical solid waste to Waste Management of Texas, Inc., and providing an effective date. Waste Management of Texas, Inc. franchise with the City of Louisville will expire on December 31st, 2013. It has been the city's practice to extend the term of the prior franchise until a new franchise is prepared and executed. Staff is requesting an extension of the current franchise and ordinance until May 18th, 2014. The proposed ordinance provides for the continuation of the terms and conditions of ordinance number 3023-01-2004, pending the execution of a new franchise. The City of Louisville Charter requires 2 readings of this ordinance within 30 days in between. Recommendation is council approve the ordinance and conduct the first reading as set forth in the option. Councilman Gilmore.
Move to approve the extension of the prior franchise.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the franchise. Any discussion? Do you need to read that, Councilor?
This is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Louisville, Texas, extending the term of an ordinance granting the collection of residential garbage, refuse, yard waste, bulky waste, recyclables, and containerized commercial solid waste with the City of Louisville to Waste Management of Texas, Inc., and providing an effective date.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 9 is consider and act upon adoption of a resolution authorizing the acquisition of sanitary sewer easements and temporary construction easements for the public use of constructing, improving, repairing, and maintaining a sanitary sewer along Timber Creek, and to undertake all associated drainage, slope, and utility improvements. The entire project, determining the public necessity of such acquisition, authorizing the appointment of an appraiser and negotiator as necessary, authorizing the city manager or his designee to establish just compensation for the property rights to be acquired, authorizing the city manager or his designee to take all steps necessary to acquire the needed property rights in compliance with all applicable laws and resolutions, authorizing the city attorney or her designee to institute condemnation proceedings to acquire the property if purchase negotiations are not successful, providing for repealing, savings, and severability clauses, and providing for an effective date. The Timber Creek Utility Crossing Project consists of 13 sanitary sewer pipe crossings and 2 potable water pipe crossings of varying degraded conditions, which will be rehabilitated by various means and methods as required of each individual location. As required by Texas Property Code Section 21.0113, the city is required to first attempt to acquire the necessary easements from the landowners voluntarily through the making of a bona fide offer prior to any eminent domain procedure. Recommendation is the council consider and adopt the resolution as set forth in the caption above by using the motion presented, which is prescribed by the Texas Government Code Section 2206.053E. Okay, Councilman Ferguson?
I move that the City of Louisville, Texas, adopt the resolution described in Agenda Number 9 and authorize the use of the power of eminent domain to acquire for public use the sanitary sewer easements and temporary construction easements on all of the properties depicted on and described by meets and bounds in attachments 1-4 attached to said resolution, said depictions and descriptions being incorporated into this motion for all purposes for the construction, access, and maintenance of Timber Creek utility crossings.
God bless you, sir. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Have a second by Councilman Durham. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Once again, Councilman Ferguson, thank you so much for coming tonight. I know you're not feeling well. Item 10 is consideration of a resolution casting Louisville votes for directors to the Denton Central Appraisal District Board. The Denton Central Appraisal District has furnished a list of nominated candidates for election to their board of directors, as well as a list outlining the 2013 distribution of votes. Votes may be cast for one or more candidates, but cannot exceed the number allocated to the entity in total. The City of Louisville has been allocated 124 votes. The 5 nominees receiving the most votes becomes the board's. Information sheets on the candidates are provided for council's consideration. Each voting unit casts its vote by December 15th.
Mayor, I'll be abstaining on this item since I'm employed by the appraisal district.
Okay, Councilman. Okay, council, I'll open this up for discussion and see how you'd like to, if you have a preference as to how you would like to cast the votes. You have the terms there in front of you in the backup. There are 6 people. Mr. Macklin has resigned or does not wish to be appointed. So you have the other 6 people there. And we discussed a little bit in workshop. So take any recommendations on how to cast the votes?
I'd make a motion that we cast all the votes for David Terry.
We have a motion by Councilman Ferguson to cast all votes for David Terry.
Second that.
We have a second by Councilman Vaughn. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, that brings us to reports. Nika, Bob, Chief?
Just to make everybody aware that Santa will be making the rounds on the fire truck starting this Sunday for about 2 weeks till we get all the streets in the city covered.
All right. Melinda, Chief?
Yes, sir.
Carol?
Well, I don't have any news on the lake, but I did want to just remind you and let you, if you haven't noticed, that the softball logo is now on the water tower.
Yes, ma'am. I got several calls about that after I called Mr. Baxter and asked him about that. I got several calls, and people are elated because they're just now getting into their, actually, believe it or not, they are starting their training for their season already, the new group, and they were really excited about that.
We had to squeeze it in, but we did get it in there to where we thought it looked the best that we could get it on there, so it looks
great.
pretty good.
I think it looks great. They're very proud. Donna?
Yes, sir. So this Saturday, we have lots of great activities planned for the holiday season. Unfortunately, the weather seems to be perhaps problematic. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the activities that are planned and what backup plans we have in case the weather gets as bad as they are predicting. So basically in the morning, we're going to start with a motorcycle toy run. This will start at 10 o'clock and will come up from Corinth and end in our Old Town area. If it does get icy, we know that the motorcycle people that ride in this activity are dedicated. We feel like they're going to probably want to go forward with that activity. We do have bands planned to perform also, and if it gets really bad, we'll at least move those type activities indoors. We will make a call by noon on Friday related to those activities. We will be posting that information on our website. But again, we think the motorcycle toy participants are very dedicated, and we're pretty confident that's going to move forward, but the meal and the musical performances may have to move inside the MCL. The afternoon, we're going to continue with our parade. The parade is planned to start at 3 o'clock. Hopefully, unless it's sleeting or really, really bad weather, we do believe that that activity will go forward. If we do have to make a decision to cancel the parade, we will make that call by 10 a.m. on Saturday, and we will put that information on our website and make that information available on social media. So we do understand that Santa's pretty dedicated also, and we're pretty sure that Santa's going to try to make it also. So we'll have our tree lighting at 5:15. Santa, we hopefully will be in the parade. And then he is going to join our mayor for the tree lighting at 5:15. And again, we think that he's going to very, very likely show up. And then he's going to hang around after that and have his picture made with all the kids. And that's going to start around 5:15. They can have buttons with their picture with Santa for free. And those will be available from 5:15 till about 8 o'clock. We do have musical performances that are also planned. We hope those will go on. But again, if we have to call anything, we'll make sure that that is posted on our website and available on social media. So we ask everyone to come out and join us Saturday. It should be a wonderful day, and again, we hope the weather will cooperate with us.
Thank you, ma'am. Brenda? Mr. Ferris? Mr. Backus? Oh, somebody, oh, I think he left.
Do we not call him back in, or did he just decide to stay out?
Forgot all about him.
I'm sorry. I thought he came back in. He might have left. He gone? Okay. Okay. Councilman Gilmore.
Mayor, if you haven't had a chance to go by the library recently, and there's so many events going on at the library, it's very difficult to even come close to covering what's going on. But for those of us who are intimidated by the Dewey Decimal System, and you don't have to raise your hand because I'm one of them, you need to go upstairs and take a look at how the library has been reorganized. The adult nonfiction section, which used to be these obscure sets of numbers and you had to go ask somebody, is now designed to be like categories. So it's actually much more like a bookstore where you walk in and you see a category of interest and you go look at the books and pull what you want from the files. Makes the library so much more user-friendly. And of course, the librarians still would love to talk with you, but this just makes that self-service and that ability to go find things even easier at our library. So I'm really excited by that new change. And there are several events going on for this week, holiday movies, library teddy bear sleepover, craft days. So if you get a chance, stop by the City of Louisville Library and check out a book. That's all I got, Mayor.
Mr. King.
No, sir.
Councilman Ferguson.
Nothing, Mayor.
Councilman Vaughn.
Nothing, sir.
Counselor. Julie. Well, I hope both of you get to feeling much better very soon. I can tell by looking in your eyes. Officer, once again, we appreciate you being here this evening. We appreciate all you do each and every day, sir. We do want to thank everyone for all the work they've done this past year here in the city. And I just want to make sure, Donna, that I got that right. We're going to make a decision at noon on Friday for the toy run and the band, the toy run and the band and serving line at noon on Friday, correct?
Yes, sir. And then for the parade, by 10 a.m. on Saturday.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. And that'll be on social media and our website. So hope everyone will tune into that. We'll see how the weather cooperates. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion adjourned by Councilman Gilmore, a second by Councilman Ferguson. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.